All six of you, come here. Look, I've just had several of the worst days of my young life, Mr. Page.
It began as a normal morning on The View. Lights on, cameras rolling, and the hosts ready to dive into the day's trending topics. But no one expected that one fiery comment from Whoopi Goldberg would shake the nation. The topic was already tense. The Department of Justice's statement claiming there was no Epstein client list to release. Many saw it as a cover-up, and when Whoopi spoke, her words hit like a thunderclap. Looking straight into the camera, she said, "Trump doesn't want that list out because some of his people might be on it." The studio fell silent. Gasps echoed. For a moment, time froze. Producers panicked, the control room erupted, and moments later, the show cut to commercial. What seemed like another live episode had just turned into the start of one of the biggest controversies in The View's history. The comment that sparked a firestorm. When the show returned, the air was heavy. Whoopi's comment had lit a fuse that no one could extinguish. Viewers were split. Some called her brave. Others said she went too far. Social media exploded with hashtags like #EpsteinFiles and #WhoopiVsTrump, trending within minutes. Conservative outlets condemned her, calling her statement reckless, while her supporters applauded her courage to speak uncomfortable truths. A BC remained silent, refusing to issue an immediate apology, which only fueled the flames. The situation escalated fast. Advertisers began asking questions, legal teams got involved, and public debate turned vicious. But through it all, Whoopi stayed quiet, letting the storm swirl. Everyone was waiting for her response. Would she retract her statement or double down? What happened next would define her career and change daytime television forever. Standing her ground. The following Monday, the nation tuned in, waiting for Whoopi's reaction. The atmosphere in the studio was electric, part tension, part anticipation. As the cameras rolled, Whoopi didn't hesitate. Looking calmly into the lens, she said, "I said what I said. If telling the truth makes people uncomfortable, that says more about them than me." The audience erupted into applause. Her defiance struck a chord with millions watching. This was no longer about Epstein or Trump. It had become a moment about truth, integrity, and the price of speaking out. Behind the scenes, however, ABC executives were scrambling. Sponsors were nervous, political calls were coming in, and producers feared the fallout. But Whoopi's refusal to back down turned her from just a talk show host into something more, a symbol of defiance in a world that often punishes honesty. The leaked memo that changed everything. Just when the outrage seemed to be settling, a leaked internal memo reignited the chaos. The document, allegedly written by a senior ABC executive, claimed Whoopi had been placed on an internal watch list due to her unpredictable comments. It warned that her recent remarks had made the network vulnerable with advertisers and legal consultants. The memo spread online like wildfire, and ABC's refusal to deny it made things worse. Inside the studio, tension thickened. Some co-hosts stood by her, others distanced themselves. Reports surfaced of heated arguments in the control room and emergency meetings to manage the fallout. The show was in turmoil. The memo revealed something deeper, the growing conflict between media control and free expression. Whoopi wasn't just challenging political power anymore. She was now clashing with the network that employed her. Division inside The View. As the controversy grew, cracks within The View became impossible to hide. According to insiders, the cast was divided. Sunny Hostin defended Whoopi, insisting she spoke truth to power, while Alyssa Farrah Griffin was reportedly furious, believing the show was becoming too radical. Joy Behar, one of Whoopi's longtime allies, was overheard saying, "We're giving them ammunition." Producers rushed to rewrite scripts, remove sensitive topics, and warn hosts to stick to the teleprompter. But Whoopi refused to play along. She made it clear she wouldn't silence herself for corporate comfort. The tension spilled on screen too. Co-hosts avoided eye contact, discussions felt strained, and fans began noticing the distance. The studio energy had changed. What used to be a table of lively debate was now a battleground of principles. Loyalty versus fear, truth versus self-preservation. The public turns the tide. While ABC fought to contain the situation, the public chose sides. The internet became a digital war zone. Hashtags like #ProtectWhoopi and #CancelTheView trended simultaneously. Celebrities joined in. Rosie O'Donnell praised Whoopi for her courage, while Meghan McCain blasted her for fueling conspiracy theories. Even politicians stepped into the fray. Senator Elizabeth Warren, in an MSNBC interview, subtly supported the idea of transparency, hinting that questions around Epstein deserved answers. Then came the financial blow. Several major advertisers quietly pulled sponsorships, fearing controversy. For ABC, this wasn't just a PR headache anymore. It was a financial crisis. But amid the chaos, Whoopi's influence grew. Supporters flooded social media, calling her a truth teller. What had begun as a risky comment had transformed into a national conversation about censorship, accountability, and the power of media silence. The second outburst that shook the network. Despite pressure from the network, Whoopi returned to the table fiercer than ever. On the next Monday's episode, she opened with raw emotion. "Silence is how we got here. Silence is how Epstein thrived. And silence is what some people want from me, but I'm not giving it to them." The audience erupted with applause. Her words echoed far beyond the studio. She wasn't just addressing one scandal. She was taking aim at systemic silence across politics and media. But her statement also crossed a new line. ABC's leadership, already reeling from advertiser losses, was terrified. Then came another leak, an alleged risk list of TV personalities deemed too controversial to trust, with Whoopi's name at the top. The revelation painted a disturbing picture, networks tracking their own hosts like liabilities. It wasn't just drama anymore. It was a war over truth itself. The whistleblowers and the hidden truth. Just when it seemed the story couldn't get deeper, it did. A respected investigative journalist released a bombshell report claiming that sealed Epstein records were being reviewed privately, and that some names inside had ties to major media executives, including at ABC. Suddenly, Whoopi's words carried dangerous weight. Her comments weren't just speculation, they were close to the bone. Then came another shocking twist. An ABC whistleblower revealed the network had formally warned Whoopi to stop making unscripted comments about ongoing investigations. She was being silenced, but once again, she refused to back down. On live TV, she said calmly, "Some people want me to shut up, but my silence will never protect the powerful." The audience stood and cheered. At that moment, Whoopi wasn't just a host. She was a voice for everyone tired of secrecy and media manipulation. The turning point and the victory. As public support surged, ABC found itself cornered. Petitions poured in, demanding the network protect Whoopi rather than punish her. The #sign Stand with Whoopi went viral, backed by celebrities, journalists, and activists. Behind the scenes, executives scrambled as their own connections to Epstein-related figures came under scrutiny. Media watchdogs began investigating the network's political ties, and the tables turned completely. Then, another whistleblower, this time from a different network, leaked evidence that media outlets had deliberately buried Epstein-related stories for years. The tide of truth was now unstoppable. Under enormous public pressure, ABC finally released a statement praising The View's commitment to fearless dialogue and confirming that Whoopi Goldberg would remain on the show. For Whoopi, it was vindication. She had faced the machine and won. Whoopi Goldberg, from host to symbol of courage. In the end, this wasn't just about a talk show segment gone wrong. It was about truth in a time of silence. Whoopi Goldberg, once again, proved she was more than a celebrity. She was a truth teller in an industry built on image and control. Her words forced a national reckoning, reminding everyone that freedom of speech comes with consequences, but silence carries a heavier price. She didn't just survive the controversy, she became the face of resistance against censorship and corporate power. Her journey through the storm showed that even in the glare of fame, courage can still outshine fear. Whoopi's story wasn't about defiance for attention, It was about integrity in the face of intimidation. And as she looked into the camera one last time and said, "I speak for those who can't," it wasn't just a quote, it was a declaration that truth still